So beginning with the slowing down of your breath, and with this sensation of settling down into your body. And as you say hello to your body, as you arrive here in your body, notice how it's holding. So we can have our mental and our emotional response to the world around us. But then there's the landscape of the body that is always processing that experience, sometimes silently, sometimes quietly, sometimes very loudly and obviously. So just feeling into this body. This body here in this moment. Sensing what is occurring. Is there contracting? Is there collapsing? Is there rising? Is there grasping? Or fluttering? Or stirring? Is there breathing happening right now in this body? Can you connect with the flow of aliveness? Can you sense the life energy and where it feels open and where it feels maybe a little more blocked or stuck or constricted? Can you really feel yourself here and now as you are? And just let one of your hands come to your chest. And let that hand be part of what helps you to express your presence with yourself. Let that hand on your chest speak to your nervous system, to the animal of your body, that you are here. That you are here to tend to your own well-being. That you are here to hold space for whatever needs to be felt, whatever is ready to be released, and whatever you might be calling in. Feeling yourself here with yourself. And really giving yourself over to the practice as an offering. The practice not only as an offering to yourself, but as a prayer, as a wish for well-being for all the beings that are displaced, all the beings that are suffering, all the beings without homes, all the birds, all the trees. Just allowing this practice to be a practice of honoring all life, starting with your own. On the next breath in, open your arms out to your sides with your palms up and your elbows bent. Breathing deep and wide across your ribs and across your chest. And on the next breath in, sweep your arms up over your head and feel into the space in your side body, lifting up through the ribs, the chest, and the crown. Bringing your palms together, and as you exhale, slowly lower your hands, bringing them to rest right at the center of your chest, with your chest gently rising up into your hands, shoulders releasing, the jaw softening. And keeping the focus inside as we chant the sound Om together 3 times, beginning with a deep breath in. Bow your head to your heart. Release your hands to your legs with your palms up. And keep your eyes closed as you raise your head. And then open your eyes and stretch out your legs to your sides, coming into Upavista Konasana. And take your hands behind you. Use your hands to help you lift up through your chest. So you can feel free to stay seated that way, or you can come into Baddha Konasana as we take a moment to check in. Let's start out with a good old cat stretch. Just getting some movement into your spine and just feeling what movement is actually available here. So not trying to make something happen that isn't already wanting to happen. Just taking your time to open the front of your body gently as you inhale, and expanding into the back of your body gently as you exhale. taking it slow. So inhale to open the front and exhale to open the back. And just feeling, if you were noticing in the meditation, if you were noticing holding or gripping or clenching, just feeling how much you can bring your movement into those places. And with that in mind, I'd like you to just start to let your movement become a little bit more free form, and to let the movement just be guided by what you feel in your body. So I like the movement to start to move into the sides, so it becomes kind of more of a circle in the lateral direction. You might like to get your head and tail moving more. You might like to wiggle and shake. Actually, shaking is something that I've been finding to be really helpful here too. Kind of my new favorite thing on hands and knees is to bounce with the arms like this, which might seem kind of strange and weird, but in a way it feels like a kind of a good way to have something to push into, to release the resistance. Just finding the ways that your body wants and needs and asks to move. And maybe that means kind of speeding it up. And maybe that means making it even smaller and slower. So just like to invite you to feel into how the authentic movement wants to come through you. And with that in mind, I'd like you to see how it feels to bring your forearms down. And you might like it, you might not like it, but just see what happens if you bring your forearms down so they're about shoulder width and your palms are pressed into the floor. And just let your head hang down, and then let the rest of your body move how it wants to move. But just at least for the next few breaths, just see if you can let your head hang. And as your head hangs down, for the next couple exhales, I want you to do something that's kind of strange that we don't really do very often here, which is a breath that we call the horse lips breath. So you let your lips flutter together like a horse, like this. And it's pretty hard to take yourself seriously while you're doing it, but I'd like you to do it anyway. And you can keep moving or you can be still. And just letting the lips flutter together and just feeling how that could be a release for you. One more time. And then let that go and just release yourself all the way back into child's pose. And in child's pose, allow yourself to fully release, to completely soften, and to totally let go. Letting out a couple of cleansing breaths here. So with a long exhalation, a long sigh out through your mouth. Just completely letting it go. And just giving the weight of your body over to the earth. Every part of you letting go. Then slowly bring yourself back up onto all fours, and We're gonna roll onto our backs now. So I want you to just give yourself whatever support you need to lie down on your back. You might like a blanket underneath your whole body or just underneath your upper body. You might also like to have a blanket underneath your head, but you're gonna come down and just rest your whole body on the floor. So just lay yourself down like you're doing a super basic Shavasana. Your whole body coming down onto the floor. And so just let your arms spread out, let your legs spread out, let your eyes close. And for some of you might already be feeling a bit of shift, a bit of change, a bit of energy moving in different ways. And for others, like myself included, you might still notice that there's like a tightening, a gripping, a holding, a fearing in the body. So again, whatever is happening in the mind is also being held in the body. So just feeling the body speaking to you, letting you know what there is to pay attention to right now, without getting lost in any story about anything at all. And so we're going to focus on a bit of release here. We're going to do a psoas release. And this is actually not just really a psoas release, but in a way can be a trauma release, a physical trauma release. So many of us, most of us probably, are experiencing some kind of trauma right now, either just in being the witness or in being the recipient of the traumatic experience. And so we're going to just see if we can take some of the charge out of our nervous systems right now. And so what we're going to do is go through the full range of motion of your psoas, or at least part of the range of motion that's available here. And we're going to take the blanket out from underneath the head, just that extra support that you have, because I want you to be able to really move your head around. And you're going to keep your arms open. And some of you have done this with me before, and I like to take my glasses off when I do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from this position with the arms open and the legs open. And then on the exhale, you're going to curl yourself into a really tight, compact little ball. And when you do that, I want you to feel like you're contracting every muscle you could possibly contract. So do that with me now. Pull yourself into a tight, tight, tight little ball. Try to squeeze your pelvic floor, squeeze your anal sphincter, squeeze your hands, squeeze your face, squeeze your abdominals. If you need to support your head with your hand, you can do that, but just feel everything squeezing and tightening and pulling in and gripping as much as you possibly can. And then on your next inhalation, you're going to open, just bring your limbs out. You're going to open your eyes, you're going to open your mouth, and you're going to stick out your tongue like a lion's breath. You're going to actually let that exhalation come from your throat out through your mouth. Open your eyes wide, open your fingers and toes wide. And then as you exhale, curl yourself again into a tight, tiny little ball. Squeeze your fists, squeeze your bottom, squeeze and curl your toes, scrunch up your face, get really tight, really small, really, really contracted. And then open. Open your eyes, open your mouth, stick out your tongue, spread your fingers, spread your toes. And then squeeze tight, pull in, grip, 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 grip. Make yourself as small and as contracted as you could possibly be. Get tight, feel the discomfort, feel the resistance, feel the pushing, the squeezing. And then last time, and you can have fun with these lion's breaths. Make lots of sound. Nobody's watching or listening. Open your jaw all the way. One more time. And then you can go back to placing that blanket underneath your head. And just take a few exhalations with a soft hum. Just a few soothing hums. Like a soothing, empathetic hum. And then slowly pull your knees in towards your chest and just hold onto your knees with your hands and let your knees be as far apart or as close together as is comfortable. And we're just going to rock a little bit from side to side. So you can go as far to the side as you like, or you can stay really centered on your sacrum and just go a little bit to each side. If your knees are giving you difficulty, you might like just letting your hands rest right behind your knees. Give a little space in the back of the knees. Rocking as far as your body wants to rock. Just releasing your back, your hips, your legs. And then roll yourself slowly over to your side. Press yourself back up onto your knees. And we're going to go into a downward dog. So take blankets off of the mat and just moving slowly, like you're treating yourself really tenderly and gently here. Planting your hands consciously down with your fingers spread wide. Slowly lift the knees and hips. And as you come into downward dog, let the knees really bend so you can get the tailbone to lift as high as it could possibly go, and feeling as though your head is hanging from your tail, like your tail's hanging from your ceiling, and then your head is hanging down from your tail. And then we're going to do a little rocking side to side with the hips. And I want you to just feel free to go as far to the side as your body is willing to go. You might like to feel like you're even about to fall down on one side and then pick yourself up and fall down on the other side and pick yourself up. So moving your booty back and forth. The farther off you go to the side, the more length you'll get in the opposite side body. So nice and slow. Head is heavy, jaw is relaxed. And then coming into the center and keeping your feet about as wide as the mat. You're going to just very slowly walk your hands towards your feet and allow your spine to hang all the way down in Uttanasana with bent knees, or if it feels better to straighten your legs, you can. Let's see how much release is available here. You can shake out your head a little bit. If it's not comfortable, hang your arms down. You can rest your forearms on your thighs and move your tailbone back and your chest forward. And then just very slowly roll yourself all the way up into standing. And it feels right to spend a little time in standing today to claim the strength and the power that we do have. So I'd like us to move right into some warrior poses. And a lot of us these days are doing the warrior poses. I know I am. But let's claim the warrior. I was really, really inspired last night. I was listening to a piece on NPR, an interview with Jane Fonda. Talk about warriors. She's like in her 80s and she's like getting arrested for civil disobedience because she's fighting for the climate. And it just really, really touched my heart to just think of what a warrior she is. So we can dedicate our warrior pose to all of the people who are fighting for our planet right now. So take your arms wide, your legs wide. You want to have your ankles right underneath your wrists. And I like the warrior to be a soft warrior, like a gentle and compassionate, heart-focused warrior. So I'd like you to have your palms up. So there's a softness in your hands, a receptivity. So you're not just like in this really aggressive way, but you're also just staying fluid and receptive. So we're going to turn the left leg in and the right leg out. And then just very slowly start to bend that right knee. And if you're having cranky knees today, maybe you just do a tiny little bend. Maybe bending all the way down just doesn't feel right for you. So maybe just a tiny bend. Also, if you're working with knee issues, sometimes turning your foot out a little bit more, like towards the back of your mat, feels better. Sometimes a wider distance feels better. Sometimes a narrower distance feels better. So play with the angle of your foot, play with how much you turn out your thigh, and that often can be beneficial to your knees. So now what I'd like us to do is to actually move. So you're going to reach your arms all the way up and feel your rib cage lift. You've got your right leg straight, but there's this energy of pulling the knee up as you reach the arms up. And then on the exhale, we're going to really stay rooted in this left leg. On the exhale, we're going to release down. And on the whole exhale, the arms are just floating all the way down. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to rise up, reaching up, lifting the ribs and chest up. And then on the exhale again, there's a release, kind of coming into your strength. And then as you inhale, you rise up and you gather it in. And then on your exhale, you release down and you really get to feel it. Inhale, moving up, rising and lifting up. And exhale, releasing and relaxing into it. And now we're going to stay up. And if you can, hold your arms up and keep your heart pumping. I know a lot of us are spending even more time inside these days, so it'll feel good to get your body moving, I hope. So right leg is turned in now, left leg is turned out. On your exhale, feel the release, the dropping down, the settling down. And then on the inhale, the rising, the lengthening, the lifting. Exhale, the releasing, the softening. Inhale, the rising up. Exhale, the releasing down. Good. Just in your own flow. And again, really paying attention to the bend of the knee, to the angle of the knee and thigh and foot. Listening to what feels best right here in your body. The back leg is staying strong. Rising up on the inhale. And releasing down on the exhale. Let there be this feeling of kind of floating. So a lot of us are having this like heaviness. And it's more than being grounded. It's like we're sinking. And so hopefully you feel like there is this opportunity with every inhale to be rising up. Let's do it one more time. Exhaling down and inhaling to rise. And then keep the arms up. You can just walk your feet in and release your arms all the way down. All right, so I want us to just keep our connection to the breath. So I'd like us to just come to opening the arms out to the sides, rising all the way up. Feel that lift, that length, that sense of space in your side body. Really ground and root through your feet. And then take your right hand and wrap it around your left wrist. And gently pull your left wrist up and over to the right. You can even let your hips swing out a little bit to your left, opening up your side body. Inhale, center yourself, reaching back up. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, rising up. Grab onto the wrist. The right wrist now with the left hand. Exhale, releasing over to the left side as you lean your pelvis a little bit over to the right side. And then inhale, rise back up. Exhale, and release down. We're going to go back out to our feet wide, and we're going to continue with some warrioring. And this one we're going to do a little bit more movement, and it's going to ask for a little more balance from your body. And so I want you to feel free to take it at your own pace to go really slow. Some of you are going to feel like you've got some fire, some energy, and you want to go faster. And so you're welcome to do that as well. And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start the first round just with the hands on the hips, and you can just watch first. So we're going to turn to the right, and we're going to come down into like a warrior. I always like to do my warrior one with my heel lifted. Maybe not always, but some of the time. And then we're going to reach the arms all the way up. And you can probably see I'm kind of challenged with my balance. Then we're just going to come right up, and we're going to come right over to the other side and reaching up again. And then we're going to come right up and over to the other side. So this is actually also really asking your ankles to awaken. Okay, and so for some of you, you're going to maybe want to hold and not move so much. For some of you, you're going to really feel like you need to walk the feet out a little bit wider to the sides. For some of you, you might like to keep your hands on your hips the whole time. For some of you, you might find that actually bending the knee doesn't feel good, but turning your hips side to side, even just like this, without really getting into the bend of the knees, but just getting your hips to keep rotating will feel pretty good. So I just want you to play with this and just experiment, and you can even let your arms be a little bit playful and expressive and creative. Some of you are going to really appreciate just the intensity of coming down into that deep and strong lunge. So you're just going to move, keep moving in your own way, in your own time, back and forth, side to side, arms, legs, spine, breath. Finding your stability in the movement. So part of what this is about is when there's movement, when there's like shaking and wobbling, how do you find your stability? How do you keep coming back to the feeling of being stable when everything is always changing? Let's just do a couple more in your own way, letting your body just express itself as it wants to move. Let's do last time over to the left side. Coming all the way back up into the center. Whew. So maybe you felt some kind of energy starting to flow. And I'd like us to go into a little forward bend, a little, another little Uttanasana. So for this one, since we're kind of preparing for it ahead of time, you can get your chair out if you need a chair. You can have some blocks underneath your hands. Remember, in this pose, sometimes knees bent feels better. Sometimes forearms on the thighs with the chest lifted feels better. And sometimes using the chair feels better with underneath the arms and hands. So centering yourself here in Uttanasana and finding the depth that your body will most appreciate here in this moment. Slow and deep breaths. Letting it be just what it is. Every exhalation, feel your spine releasing a little bit more. And then bending your knees. If you've straightened your legs, pull your belly in and roll yourself up to standing. So now I'd like to bring another practice in that can be really helpful when it feels like it's the end of the world. And so before class we were talking about like the attitude that you could have about feeling like it's the end of the world, and some of us have an orientation in one way, some of us have it in the other way. But sometimes what is most helpful is when we know that we have absolutely no control over the situation, is just to have a good laugh about it. And so I just want to bring in some of that light, some of that levity, some of that just like energy shift, and also remembering that laughing is our natural way of releasing endorphins, serotonin, and oxytocin, all things that we need to survive the multiple pandemics that are taking place right now. So I just want you to see if this how this feels for you. I really encourage you to try it, even if you think it's a totally bizarre and weird and uncomfortable thing to do. Okay, so we're going to have our feet a little wider than the width of the mat, and you can kind of adjust the width of your feet, and I'll demonstrate first, and then we'll do it together several times. So we're going to raise the arms up. And then on the exhale, we're going to come down with like a waterfall of laughter into a forward bend. So I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to pull my belly in, round the back. And then you're going to roll back up, and we're going to just keep doing that. So you're going to inhale, take the arms up over your head, and the louder and harder you laugh, the more it works. Inhale, rolling up, reaching up. And exhale. So we're faking it. You're faking it until you make it here. Your body doesn't know the difference. Inhale up. Exhale. Let's do 2 more. So really go for it. Inhale up and exhale. And last one, rising all the way up. Give it all you got. Just stay down for a moment. There's any other giggles that need to come out, you can shake them out. And then rolling all the way up, and just noticing if that had any kind of magic influence on how you were feeling at all. We're going to come back down onto the ground now. So arrange your mat however you'd like. And we're actually going to be coming onto our bellies. So if you want to put a blanket over your mat, you most definitely can. I'm going to do without. And just like you to come down onto your belly, resting your head on top of your hands stacked one on top of the other. And I'd like you to have your toes turned in and your heels turned out. As long as that feels comfortable for your knees and your low back and your hips, try turning your heels out, your toes in. So coming into internal rotation with your legs. That is often pretty soothing and comforting for your hips and low back. So just letting the breath be deep and full in the back of your body. Your belly to the earth. We're going to start a little bit of movement with a little baby cobra. So as your hands come alongside your chest, tuck your chin towards your chest, and really plant your hands down so that they're pretty much as far back as they'll go. So you start to feel your elbows pulling down towards your heels, your elbows also pulling in towards each other. And so the back of your neck begins to get really, really long. And then just let your hands start to lighten up so that they're hovering slightly above the floor. And as you inhale, lift your ribs and chest any amount, whatever you can do here. Pull back through your feet. Lifting up through your chest. And then you're going to exhale and just release your head back down, your hands softening down, and then once again rising up. You can really engage your belly muscles, but try to do this without clenching your butt unless you need to squeeze your butt to protect a low back that really needs support. Okay, so exhale, coming forward and releasing everything. And then inhale, rising up once again. And so remember, as you're doing that, keep going. as you're doing that, I want you to feel that it is from within your core that you're lifting. It's not from your arms, it's not from your head. So Nicole, lengthen the back of your neck. Yeah, it's from within your core that you're lifting. So your head is the last part to lift. Rising up as you inhale and releasing down as you exhale. At your own pace. Take your time. And then you can start to let your hands make contact with the floor. And next time you come up, just see what it feels like to put a little bit of weight in your hands. Not all the way, not thrashing yourself up, but just a little bit of weight in your hands. Pausing there for a moment, lifting up through the chest. And then see what happens if you put a little bit more weight in your hands. Does that feel good? Does it not feel good? See what it feels like to go a little bit further. And so we're keeping the shoulders down, we're drawing the elbows in, we're lifting the chest up, the back of the neck is long. Go as far as your body will happily agree to. And that's a big caveat. So for some of us, it's like staying way down is what feels best on the back. And for some of us, coming up feels really, really good. So next exhale, we're going to come all the way down. Dropping the head. All right, now I'd like you to take your hands out to the sides like little spiders. So you're going to have your elbows bent at about 90 degrees, your wrists pretty much underneath your elbows, and then see how that feels to come up and to come down. And so your chest is really widening. Only do what feels good. Inhale, pressing up. And if this is hard on your shoulders to do, you can try doing it with your arms floating like this. So you're actually not putting weight in your arms. You're just lifting to float up, which is actually, I find, harder. So just rising up any amount up onto your little spider hands. And exhaling down. Just be watchful to not overdo it with your neck. Inhaling up. Feel that strength coming through your belly core. Exhale down. That's actually why we're doing this, because I want you to feel your deep internal strength. Inhale up. Exhale down. Okay, one more time. Now as you come down, turn your head to one side. You can rest your arms right now in whatever position feels most comfortable, but just let your head turn to one side. Deep, slow breaths here. And then from here, you're going to take your hands right onto your front hip bones. So your hands are coming underneath your body to rest on the front hip bones. So your hands look like this from the floor, okay? So hands on the front hip bones. Head just can stay turned to the side. You might even find that for some of us that this is even quite an interesting shoulder experience, but we're doing this for the legs, so actually for the hips. So whichever direction your head is turned in, bend that knee. Okay, so my head is turned to the left, so I'm going to bend my left knee. Now, try to feel from your hip bones that your hips are level with the floor. Try to make your hips level. So that means the right hip bone and left hip bone are equidistant from the floor. And feel
belly muscles engaged now. So your lower belly pulls towards your back, and also you can kind of feel like your navel's pulling towards your heart. And so with your belly staying engaged, with your left knee bent, you're just going to drop your left knee out to the left, your left foot out to the left, bring it back to center, and drop the left foot over to the right side. Bring it back to center. So you're going to go back and forth like that, and the whole time the focus is to not let the hip bones move. They're going to stay level with the floor. Especially, I notice it's harder when I bring my left foot to the left. And so I feel some resistance there, and so my pelvis wants to move. But I'm going to keep my pelvis stable by monitoring with my hands and engaging with my belly. It's easy to roll when I bring my left foot to the right. So again, I'm just trying to stabilize as much as possible. Moving side to side, nice and slow. Take your time. And then go ahead and put your foot back down on the floor and turn your head to face the other direction. So your hands are still on your hip bones. Now bend the other foot. So I'm now looking to the right and bending my right knee. Drop the foot out to one side, bring it back to center, and drop it out to the other side without letting those hip bones move. Slowly shifting side to side. Taking your time so that you can really watch. You want to really pay attention. Noticing any micro movements in the hip bones. And then go ahead and drop that foot down and bring your hands alongside your chest. And bring your forehead to the floor. Now, for the next thing that I'm going to invite you to try, I like to actually keep my forehead on the floor and my chin tucked. That happens to work for my nose and my neck, but you can see what feels best for you. You could do this with your head turned to the side if you needed to. So we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to put the ankles or the lower shin bones into the hands. And if you can't reach your ankles or your lower shin bones with your hands, or if that creates more tension in your knees, what you can do is you can get up and grab a belt, and you're going to take the belt and put it, and it could be anything that could simulate a belt. I've even seen people use their yoga pants. Not that I'm suggesting you take off your pants, but you had an extra pair of yoga pants sitting around. But you could put your belt around the ankles or right by the lower shins and hold as close with your hands as is comfortable for your knees. So just see, I know for some of you this might be even hard on your shoulders, so maybe you just want to roll onto your back and do a bridge pose. Maybe that would feel better. But otherwise, for people who are comfortable doing this, you can continue to hold your ankles. I like to push out through my heels, like really flexing at the ankles. You can stay here and you'll still get quite a nice quad stretch. You can also try now rocking side to side. So we're not even lifting up yet. We're just rocking the hips side to side. So kind of like what your hips sort of wanted to do in the last movement. Now we're letting them rock side to side. And again, you can do this with your head turned to one side, or you can do this with your head in line with your spine. So if you feel like you need to take a break, you can definitely take a break and put your hands down on the floor and just rest for a moment. For those of you that feel good continuing to move, you can start to lift your heels up and start to lift your chest up and start to open the front of your body a little bit more, only lifting your head as much as your chest is lifting. I like to keep pushing through the heels, lifting the knees and thighs off the floor, pressing the pubic bones into the floor, continuing to lift the chest, to arch the upper back. And again, you could totally do this with just the knees down and the chest lifted, or just the knees lifted and the chest down. So either way will work, or with both the knees and the chest down. So just taking another couple of breaths here for those of you that are here. And again, if it doesn't feel good to do this, you can just do a bridge pose on your back. Lifting the heels, lifting the knees, lifting the chest, and deepening the breath. And then completely letting go, turning your head to the side, releasing the arms. And then from here, just roll yourself onto one side to sit yourself all the way up. All right, so we're going to continue to do some releasing. And I'd like us to, again, like before, have something soft to lay on. So you might like to go back to covering your blanket or covering your mat with a blanket. You'll probably want to have an extra blanket for the head. Have a bolster or some pillows nearby so that when it's time to come into Shavasana, you have what you need to support your knees. But we're not going to do Shavasana quite yet. We still have a little bit more active practice that we're going to do. So as you come onto your back, release your arms out to your sides. And just let your feet widen about as wide as your mat, and let your knees rest against each other. Palms are turned up. Breath is slow and deep. So as you rest your knees into each other, I'd like you to see if you can really let your tailbone drop and feel your thigh bones sinking into your hip sockets. And let your face soften and your jaw release. Feel your shoulders settling into the floor. And just noticing how your body has continued to release. And also what your body might still be holding on to. And then slowly go ahead and stretch out both legs. So bring them together, zip them together. Reach out through the heels, open up the toes, shoulders relaxing down. And as you exhale, go ahead and pull that right knee in towards your chest. Remember that
You always have the option to put your hands behind your knee, which might feel better with cranky knees or with just tighter hips. You could also even pass your belt behind the back of your knee, which again might just give you a little less with your hands or just a little more ease in some other way. So feel free to get creative here. Keep the left leg really, really long. Let your face get really, really soft. So getting our core engaged and relaxed is a good way to release some of the kind of trauma that gets stuck in our bodies. So we're going to now, if it feels right for you to do so, feel the belly core once again, drawing down towards the floor and up towards your heart. And on the next exhale, you're going to draw your forehead towards your knee and your knee in towards your forehead. Remember, you can always slip one hand behind your head for a little bit more support, but make sure your hand doesn't push your head. It would just be like a pillow for your head. Otherwise, just engaging the muscles that allow you to really lift up through your chest. If you sense that your belly is kind of pushing up and out, like especially if you've had a baby before, that can happen. Really try to draw your belly in and up. Okay, so lengthening through the left leg, forehead towards the knee, knee towards the forehead. Left leg is long. Staying with your breath and just welcoming that deeper contraction, that deeper squeeze. And then inhale and release that. And then we're just going to go ahead and just go through a little range here, straightening the leg and then bending the knee. And we're going to do that a few times. Just straighten out the leg and bend the knee. Again, just this movement hopefully is soothing and relaxing for your knee. Hopefully it's not too stimulating, but just getting some movement through the knee and all the tissues around the knee. And next time you straighten your leg, as you keep it up, let's just do some circles with the ankle. And if you're really wanting to get a release around the ankle, you can actually hold on to the ankle and feel like you're trying to pull the skin and muscle away from the ankle as you do a couple more turns. So that's kind of advanced ankle rolling here, pulling the skin and the muscles away from the ankle as you turn it. Move the foot around. And then just go ahead and release that right leg down and take a moment to rest your hands and your arms and feel the magic of the transformative power of yoga. And then bringing your legs back together so they're connected at your midline. Exhale, pull your left knee in, hugging that knee in as close as it wants to go, and remembering sometimes it's better to go out to the side, so see what feels good in your hips. Keep that right leg really lengthening out, reaching out through your right heel. Shoulders are soft, jaws relaxed. And then on your next exhale, hollow out your belly. Really pull the belly muscles in and towards the heart, and pull the knee and the head towards each other, really by way of lifting your chest. So stay with your breath and support your head if it needs support, but not by pushing it, just by holding it. Long through your right leg. Slow and deep through your breath, pulling that knee in, lifting the chest up, engaging the core,
Deep, deep belly core support, upper belly core support. So it's like your lower ribs are moving into the floor and then pulling up towards your head. On your next inhale, release your head back down and slowly stretch and bend the leg. Just nice and slow, stretching it out and bringing it back in, taking your time. Just easy, relaxed movements. Very gentle. And then next time it's stretched out, you can start to turn the ankle around. Make sure to get into both directions. And if this is feeling good and you want to take it a little further, you can wrap your hands around your lower shin, your lower leg, and pull the skin and the muscle away from the ankle and then circle it around even a little more. And remember, if you're someone that struggles with knees, that it's very important to pay attention to your ankles and feet, just as it's very important to pay attention to your hips, because what's happening above and below the knee is directly impacting the knee itself. So we are caring for the knees by caring for the ankles and feet here. And then we're going to drop that foot onto the floor and release the arms, and again be present with the sensations in the body. So we're going to do one more really big release. This is going to be the biggest release that we're going to do in our whole practice, and it's going to take us right into our Shavasana. And again, it's one of those releases that sometimes is like an edge for people. Sometimes people resist it or find it annoying or disruptive, and that's kind of the point. If it just doesn't resonate with you, you can ignore it, or you can turn off your Zoom or whatever. But otherwise, I just invite you to really go with me and trust that no one's watching you. I'm going to be doing it with you. And you can really use this. If you give yourself over to this, you can actually use this as an incredibly deep purge and release that will help you end up feeling a lot more relaxed, a lot lighter, and a lot happier. So again, this is something I like to have a lot of space for, and I like to have my glasses off for, and I'm going to just explain it all as we go. And pretty much what we're going to do is we've already done some kind of contracting and releasing, right? We've done some like squeezing and tightening and then letting go. And that's just a very classic way to create a release in the body. And we're going to do that same type of thing, but with actually laughing. So we're going to combine a lot of the things that we've done. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the entire body and give each single part of the body a chance to release and a chance to move. And this is more free-form movement. This is more intuitive movement. So you don't need to watch me as you do this. I want you to just feel how each part of your body wants to make noise, how it wants to move, how it wants to be still, how it wants to be quiet. And we're really just kind of disrupting everything here. So it's an exploration of curiosity and playfulness. All right, so just starting with a connection to your breath. And just feel right now how your body is in connection to the floor. And know that you are welcome to move and breathe and make sound in whatever way feels right for you. Sometimes when we're laughing, it also sounds or feels like we're crying. And sometimes the crying is even more essential than the laughing. So
If you're able to get out some tears, that's wonderful too. But maybe also you feel anger or frustration, and you just can play with that. Let it be a play. So we're going to start with the face, and I want you to just let your face move and scrunch and make really weird shapes and start to laugh as though it's just your face laughing. Like the laughter comes out of your eyes, like it comes out of your nose, like it comes out of your ears, like it's coming out of your lips. And let the laugh come down into your throat. And into your shoulders. And into your arms. And through your fingers and hands, you can shake them out with laughter. Moving any way your body wants to move. And you might even find that as your arms and hands are moving, you want to pound the floor. Get your shoulders moving in your back and start to feel your ribs going. See if you can get the laughter to come through your ribs. And then start to just feel your whole spine undulating with laughter. Whole spine moving and laughing. And get it down into your belly now. And now start to bring it down into your hips. And you can bend your knees. Sometimes when you get into your hips, it feels good to lift your hips and bounce your hips with laughter. Make sure you get your butt laughing. Make sure you give your genitals a laugh too. Your whole pelvis quivering with laughter. And then bring it into your thighs. Maybe they want to shake. And then give your knees some laughter. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then bring that laughter all the way down into your ankles and feet. And then we're going to do a whole body laugh. Just for about a minute, you're going to let your whole body convulse with laughter. Just go totally crazy and wild with laughter. And if it feels like you want to roll around and have a temper tantrum and bang the floor and scream and cry, do whatever you need to do to let it all out. And just feel it starting to settle down. Take some really slow, full breaths. If you want to pull a bolster or a pillow underneath your knees, feel free to do that. If there's any other way you want to set up your body for your Shavasana, do that now. Eyes are covering your body. Maybe it feels good to rest your hands somewhere on your body or to keep them out to the sides. Just whatever feels good, and just noticing if there's still this resonance of sensation from the laughter in your body. Soaking it all up. Drinking it all in. Deep, soothing breaths now. Emphasizing your exhalations. Emphasizing the release, the complete, deep, full release of your whole being, body, mind, and spirit, releasing, settling, resting, and just being as you are. Fully letting go. Letting yourself be just as you are. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome home to this body. Welcome home to your place on this earth. With each breath, deepening more and more, welcoming yourself back into this moment, back into this day. Take your time as you bend your knees one by one. Slowly rolling yourself over to your side. And from your side, use your arms to support yourself and coming back up to sitting. And just having a seat in the way that feels most relaxed for you, and coming back to your hand at your heart. Honoring the ways in which you have just held space for your own healing and release and resolution. Soaking it up as if you were a sponge, and just imagining you could really take this practice deep into your core, deep into your nerves, deep into your brain. And then extend it out into the space and the world and the atmosphere around you as a soothing balm of presence and ease and embodiment. Wishing so deeply for all beings to feel their connectedness, the lack of separation, the feeling of being in the same human family. May our practice, our work, and our whole lives be for the benefit of all beings. Thank you for your practice. Thanks, everyone.